Good morning, YouTube. Hope everyone has a peace dominated day. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to all of my new subscribers. Welcome back to all of my peeps. This was a good year. We had 3,686 views. Whether they subscribe, like, or share, it doesn't matter. Thank you for taking out the time. You could have been viewing any video on YouTube, but you came here. I am Nina, of Styles by Nina, and I first want to just wish everybody peace and power. I am going to put together the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2016. And we'll do that together, of course. Not just put it together, but look over all of my old vlogs so that we can laugh and highlight some of the good moments, the bad, and the misunderstood. As I said, welcome back and good morning to everyone. I switched my work schedule again so that I can start doing more with my social media. Don't forget to go over to Instagram, and of course, the advertisements would be what I had up. Don't forget to go over to my Instagram. And follow me. This is me 100% all the time, the same way. A lot of people like to pretend as if there's a separation of self and the world, but I am who I am in this world. So we're together. As I said, I'm Styles by Nina LLC on Instagram. Also go over to Twitter. I am Urban Intellectual at Styles by Nina. And what I post here is videos and sometimes repost and comment. I'm not on Twitter as much as I used to be. Maybe that will change and we know it's not the new year, but in the upcoming world-made new year. We know that the new year is in the springtime, but nonetheless, go over to Twitter and follow me. If you would like to purchase some product, I am listed on eBay. You can type into the search box, it's Butter Baby, and my product comes up. It's not just the body butter anymore. That's how I started off last year, or the end of 2015, matter of fact. It was just the body butter. Now I have the hair and body oil. Everything's organic, all natural. I also have the, like I said, it can be tailored to any type of essential oil. I also have the It's Butter Baby coconut, sugar, and sea salt scrub, which I absolutely love. I've been using it now for a few months. As I stated, everything that I make, I try to test it out myself first. I test it out myself first on me and my family. I also have the liquid black soap, in which I can add an essential oil to. I also have the bar soap. The liquid black soap is $10, and I have the bar soap for $5. And I need to add it on here. And as I said, it's not just the body butter anymore. I have the hair and body oil, the body scrub. I am working on a deodorant. Yay! That'll be the newest addition to my family, the deodorant. We're going to grow this thing. We're going to grow together. And I appreciate all the inquiries all the love and support. And let's just remember that I don't have these buttons here for no reason. This is the donate button. If you would like to donate, you click on that button. It'll go to my PayPal. You can donate anywhere from $1 to $10. All donations are appreciated. I also have the buy now button here. You click on this button and it'll take you to my PayPal. And you can also shoot me an email to let me know if you would like essential oils. I also have the whipped body butter without the essential oils. You just hit me on PayPal for that, or stylesbynina@hotmail.com. And as I stated, welcome to all my new people. We're going to start this morning off on where I left off in my last video. I didn't actually publish it. I may or may not. But this is something that I have been following. We're going to listen to this video by Truth Unveiled. I'm confused. What just happened? One moment, YouTube. All right, so like I said, we're gonna go over the Truth Unveiled 777. Y'all go over and show this page some love. This is my second time watching it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add my comment. Y'all don't forget to subscribe, share, and like to Styles by Nina on YouTube. And as I stated, well, I'm just stating now. Let's just move forward. This is something I've been following for years. This is actually how I got into the truth. Knowing or following what was going on in Palestine. And I told many people what's going on in Palestine is really going to be a reflection of how we're being treated here in the U.S. And it was true. And I didn't know anything about this. It's just something that my heart identified with and that I was following. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll be back shortly. I'm just going to let this play and then we'll move forward.
Updated with the world around you, we're going to be talking about what just happened with Israel and the UN and the bigger implications behind this resolution that was passed. We'll also be going over the resolution together so you can see the bigger agenda behind this. Now, I'm here at the New York Times and it says, rebuffing Israel, U.S. allows censure over settlement. And the reason why this is so important is because of the reaction from the U.S., and you'll see exactly what I mean. But the actual report says, defying extraordinary pressure from President-elect Donald J. Trump and furious lobbying by Israel, the Obama administration on Friday allowed the UN Security Council to adopt a resolution that condemned Israeli settlement construction. The administration's decision not to veto the measure reflected its accumulated frustration over Israeli settlements. The American abstention on the vote also broke a long-standing policy of shielding Israel from action at the United Nations that described the settlements as illegal. While the resolution is not expected to have any practical impact on the ground, it is regarded as a major rebuff to Israel, one that could increase its isolation over the paralyzed peace process with Israel's Palestinian neighbors, who have sought to establish their own state on territory held by Israel. Applause broke out in the 15-member Security Council's chamber after the vote on the measure, which passed 14-0, with the U.S. Ambassador Samantha Power raising her hand as the lone abstention, and we're going to go over her statement later on, Israel's ambassador Danny Danon denounced the measure and castigated the council members who had approved it. So in a nutshell, the resolution that was passed 2 days ago, commonly known as Resolution 2334, what it does is that it condemns Israeli settlements to be built in the land of Palestine, and much of the United States, along with Donald Trump, initially tried to prevent this from happening by vetoing this vote. But what the U.S. did is that they instead decided to abstain from voting whatsoever, and we're going to talk about the bigger implications behind that, because there's something bigger going on that, of course, that is not reaching the surface. But the article goes on to say that the resolution describes the settlement building as a, quote, major obstacle to peace and demands that Israel stop the construction, which most of the world regards as illegal, which it is indeed. And then the Prime Minister says, quote, Israel rejects the shameful anti-Israel resolution at the UN and will not abide by its terms. At a time when the Security Council does nothing to stop the slaughter of 500,000 people in Syria, it disgracefully gangs up on one of the true democracy in the Middle East, Israel, and calls the Western Wall, quote, occupied territory. Give me a break. We know the truth about what's really going on and the truth behind all of this. Now, Donald Trump also made a very cryptic statement about this, where he posted on his Twitter just as this was passed, as to the UN, things will be different after January 20th. Now, we know darn well that although Mr. Trump was against this and wanted to veto this, if you really think that Mr. Trump is going to get into office and change all of this madness, you might as well think again, because this is exactly what the elite want. This is exactly what the Zionists want. They want to make war out of this, and you're going to see a war festering even in the lines of their documents. Now, previously, the United States would always be in support of Israel and would do anything in their power to support Israel, especially when it came to settlements and resolutions that were passed at the UN. But the reason this is so important, and this instance is important about why they abstain, is because it shows the United States' departure of Israeli-United States relations. You'll also see that it's going to allow for the two-state divided land soon enough, which could in turn promote war for both sides of the debate. Now, I thought it was interesting because if you continue to read down in this article from the New York Times, you see that the Palestinian ambassador to the United Nations welcomed the resolution's adoption, but tempered his approval with the warning. And he says, quote, in reality, today's action may be too little too late. After years of allowing the law to be trampled and the situation to spiral downward, today's resolution may rightly be seen as the last attempt to preserve the two-state solution and revive the path of peace. But notice how it says preserve the two-state solution, and we know this has nothing to do with peace whatsoever, but everything to do with war, because then it says that the resolution condemned Israeli housing construction in East Jerusalem and the occupied West Bank as a, quote, flagrant violation under international law that was, quote, dangerously imperiling the viability of a future peace settlement establishing a Palestinian state. And the resolution also included a nod to Israel and its backers by condemning all acts of violence against civilians, including acts of what they call terror, as well as all acts of provocation, incitement, and destruction. That language is diplomatic scolding aimed at Palestinian leaders whom Israel accuses of encouraging attacks on Israeli civilians, because that's what they always want you to believe. That's what these Zionist-backed newspapers want you to believe, that everybody's attacking Israel, everybody's against Israel, and that the U.S. and Israel are not the problems. Give me a break. But I thought it was interesting because it says Hamas, the Palestinian group that controls the Gaza Strip, expressed appreciation to the UN Security Council. Why is that so important? Because that just gives your government another reason, and these Zionists another reason to continue their aim at the terror agenda and the terror propaganda, because now they could say, because of this resolution that was passed, oh, there could be a threat of terror attacks in these different areas. There could be reasons and suspicions for that, when we know darn better than that. Now, I wanted to quickly show you a map of the actual borders from then and now, and the reason this is so important, as you can see from 1967 alone, these are the borders. The Palestinian ones are shaded in the darker colors, and the Israeli borders are shaded in the lighter colors. But as you can see, within a 30-40 year period, well, it looks as though Israel has pretty much taken over the map. And the reason this resolution is so important is because they're trying to return to these borders. And we're going to be talking more about that in the bigger significance behind it. Not to mention how this is just another way to stir up more war and cause and create more conflict, and that's exactly what they do, especially between these nations in the Middle East. Now, to give a little bit more background and context to all of this, a few days ago, back on Thursday, I went over with you and shared with you how Egypt initially was against this resolution and rejected it. But then what ended up happening a few days ago on Friday is that 4 nations called for the resolution, and these nations were New Zealand, Malaysia, Venezuela, and Senegal, because they all objected and called for the resolution to be made immediately. But now we're here at the actual UN website, and it says meetings coverage, Security Council 7,853rd meeting, and this was held as of Friday, December 23rd, 2016. And it says Israel settlements have no legal validity, constitute flagrant violation of international law, Security Council reaffirms. 14 delegations in favor of resolution 2334 2016 as United States abstains. And like I said, we'll actually be going to this resolution to talk more about it. But it says right here that the Security Council reaffirmed this afternoon that Israel's establishment of settlements in Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, had no legal validity, constituting a flagrant violation under international law and a major obstacle to the vision of 2 states living side by side in what they call peace and security, or peace and safety, sudden destruction, within internationally recognized borders. And it took them that long to figure this out. But then it goes on to read, adopting Resolution 2334 2016 by 14 votes, with the U.S. abstaining, the Council reiterated its demand that Israel immediately and completely cease all settlement activities in the occupied Palestinian territory, and that includes East Jerusalem. It underlined that it would not recognize any changes to the June 4th, 1967 lines, the ones I just showed you, including with regard to Jerusalem, other than those agreed by the 2 states through their negotiations. The Council called for immediate steps to prevent all acts of violence against civilians, including acts of terror, as well as all acts of provocation and destruction. It further called for the strengthening of ongoing efforts to combat terrorism, including through existing security coordination, and to clearly condemn all acts of terrorism. The Council called on both sides to observe calm and restraint, and to refrain from provocative actions, incitement, and inflammatory rhetoric in order to de-escalate the situation on the ground and rebuild trust and confidence. But my question is, and the question we should be thinking about, is why would they even call for all these acts unless they're the ones instigating all this? Now we're going to go over some of the responses in the action on draft resolutions, because you're going to see what some of these other nations have said about all of this, including the 4 I just mentioned: Malaysia, New Zealand, Venezuela, and Senegal. But as you see for Malaysia, it says, While Malaysia would have preferred a more transparent and normal process of submitting the text to the council, the present situation was unique, he emphasized, appealing to fellow council members not to lose the opportunity to advance the peace. The time to show that a two-state solution was not an empty slogan was now, he added, and we're going to see why this is so important indeed. Now, according to statements from New Zealand, they surveyed the draft's drafting and negotiation history, noting what was needed was a text that moved the peace process forward by building on the broad consensus that settlements were a major obstacle and that all violence must indeed end. Now, I thought it was interesting when a sponsor from Venezuela said that the action that occurred from the UN could be historic. The decision to table the draft was important due to the ongoing expansion of settlements and in order to safeguard the Palestinian people and salvage the peace process. Now we're going to go over some of these statements and you're going to see how they're all pushing the same thing. But what are they really pushing when you read between the lines? Because statements from Egypt talks about and stresses that it was unacceptable for some council members to have warned Egypt when it comes to the illegitimate settlements. Recalling that Egypt had been the first Arab country to make peace with Israel, he said it believed in peace based on a two-state solution and the Land for Peace initiative, and the Samantha Power statement we'll go over later on. Well, what's very interesting and suspicious indeed about all of this is that all of their statements and their push for the two-state solution is actually going to trigger and cause the exact opposite of what they're saying that it will do, and saying that emphasizing that peace could only be made based on a two-state solution. At least these are statements from France, and how acts of violence, incitement, and terrorism also could undermine the chances of a two-state solution, even though that's what they're pushing. And as you can see, this is all being done under the guises of peace and security and safety, which we know exactly what comes after that, because we see the exact same statements from Venezuela and even China coexisting, and we see the same thing too from statements made by the UK as well for a peaceful two-state solution indeed. And the same type of dialogue is true for all of the other nations involved, including but not limiting to Uruguay and the Russian Federation and all of the other nations involved. And I'll be sure to leave a link in the description box below so you can take a look at this on your own time. And the reason this is so important is because notice how this coincides with all the propaganda that we're seeing from Russia and the Russian propaganda and World War III too, because this is more basis and a catalyst for war worldwide indeed, because they do not want peace whatsoever. They want war and will make any justifications and ramifications for pushing said war. And this is just the nail in the coffin to that war. Now we'll briefly talk about Samantha Power and the United States response to what has been going on, because now we're here at the state's website where it says, explanation of vote at the adoption of UN Security Council Resolution 2334 on the situation in the Middle East. And this comes from Ambassador Samantha Power. Now, we're not going to go over all of it. I'll be sure to leave the link in the description box so you can read it on your own. But as you see, it says, thank you, Mr. President. Let me begin with the quote. And it says, quote, the United States will not support the use of any additional land for the purpose of settlements during the transitional period. Indeed, the immediate adoption of a settlement freeze by Israel more than any other action could create the confidence needed for wider participation in these talks. Further settlement activity is in no way necessary for the security of Israel and only diminishes the confidence of the Arabs that a final outcome can be freely and fairly negotiated. And of course, she's quoting Ronald Reagan, but like I said earlier, rather than allowing Israel to continue expanding its settlements in the Palestinian territory that doesn't belong to them anyway, the Zionists are now making it seem as though the U.S. is anti-Israel and is against Israel and is a traitor to Israel by abstaining from this anti-Israel resolution, which is not even a resolution at all. Now, I thought it was interesting because all throughout her statement, Miss Power talks about the double standard that this will create and urges and wonders if member states are making the right decision when it comes to the two-state solution. But the bigger question that nobody else seems to be wondering is how is this going to affect people like you and me? Because yes, this does have an effect on us, not just when it comes to war, but when it comes to the justifications of the so-called acts of terrorism that are going to start happening. And who are they going to blame? They're going to come after those who are accused of fake news. I hope that you see how all of this plays into each other and how all of this is related to one another. And then I finally also wanted to talk more about towards the end of the statement where she says we have to recognize that Israel faces very serious threats in a very tough neighborhood. Israelis are rightfully concerned about making sure there is not a new terrorist haven next door. President Obama and this administration have shown an unprecedented commitment to Israel's security because that is what we believe in. But notice once again how they're always mentioning the terror threat. Not only that, but also the word security, peace and security, peace and safety. I'm telling you, there's something bigger brewing in the works here. Well, here we are at the actual resolution from the United Nations Security Council that was passed 2 days ago. As you see, it says Resolution 2334-2016, adopted by the Security Council at its 7,853rd meeting 2 days ago. Now, it's only 3 pages long, but we'll be going over most of it together because what you're going to see is that there's some very interesting stuff in here indeed. Now, it says, the Security Council, reaffirming its relevant resolutions, including resolutions that they've passed before, guided by the purposes and principles of the Charter of the UN, and reaffirming inter alia the inadmissibility of the acquisition of territory, reaffirming the obligation of Israel, the occupying power, notice how they say occupying power, to abide scrupulously by its legal obligations and responsibilities under the Fourth Geneva Convention relative to the protection of civilian persons in time of war of the 12th of August 1949, and recalling the advisory opinion rendered back in July 2004 by the International Court of Justice. And then it goes on to say, condemning all measures aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and status of the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, including inter alia, the construction and expansion of settlements, transfer of Israeli settlers, confiscation of land, demolition of homes, and displacement of Palestinian civilians, and violation of international humanitarian law and relevant resolutions, expressing grave concern that continuing Israeli settlement activities are dangerously imperiling the viability of what the two-state solution based on the 1967 lines. And of course, what they want you to believe is that they're condemning all acts of violence and that they're reiterating their vision of a region where two democratic states, Israel and Palestine, live side by side in peace within secure and recognized borders, even though they're pushing the exact opposite with war all over the Middle East. And this is just another way that they're going to justify their actions. So we see that so far the resolution calls Israel the occupying power and also calls for a two-state solution based on the 1967 borders that we already went over, but there's always more. And then it also talks about the urgent steps needed in order to, 1, stabilize the situation and reverse negative trends on the ground, which are steadily eroding the two-state solution and entrenching a one-state reality, and 2, to create the conditions for successful final status negotiations and advancing the two-state solution through these negotiations and on the ground. But they might as well be saying advance terrorism and advance war, because that's exactly what they're doing, not just for the Middle East and Israel, but soon enough for America as well. And this is going to be the precursor to martial law in America. Wait and see. But then it goes on to say in their numbers that they list, we're just going to be going over a few of them. Number one reaffirms that the establishment by Israel of settlements in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, has no legal validity and constitutes a flagrant violation under international law and a major obstacle to the achievement of the two-state solution and a just, lasting, and comprehensive peace. Then if that's the case, why were they there to begin with? Why did they occupy the Palestinian land to begin with? But anyway, let's keep going. Number two says, reiterates its demand that Israel immediately and completely cease all settlement activities in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, and that it fully respect all of its legal obligations in this regard. And number three, underlines that it will not recognize any changes to the June 4th, 1967 lines, including with regard to Jerusalem, other than those agreed by the parties through their negotiations. I'm going to skip down to number 6. If you would like to read it, definitely pause the video. Indeed, number 6 says, calls for immediate steps to prevent all acts of violence against civilians, including acts of terror, as well as all acts of provocation and destruction, calls for accountability in this regard, and calls for compliance with obligations under international law for the strengthening of ongoing efforts to combat terrorism, including through existing security coordination, and to clearly condemn all acts of terrorism. But we know darn well this should be ringing some alarm bells and raising some red flags indeed, because anytime they talk about calling and preventing acts of violence, we know that they're doing the exact opposite. Number 7 then says, calls upon both parties to act on the basis of international law, including international humanitarian law, and their previous agreements and obligations, to observe calm and restraint, and to refrain from provocative actions, incitement, and inflammatory rhetoric with the aim, inter alia, of de-escalating the situation on the ground, rebuilding trust and confidence. We know they're doing the opposite of that, and demonstrating through policies and actions a genuine commitment to the two-state solution and creating the conditions necessary for promoting peace, even though they're doing the opposite under the hand of the Zionists. And number 8, interestingly enough, calls for the promotion of peace and security, or peace and safety, and then sudden destruction as travail upon a woman. Sounds familiar? Because the UN has been calling for that for the past 50 years. And then lastly, number 9 urges in the regard the intensification and acceleration of international and regional diplomatic efforts and support aimed at achieving without delay a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace in the Middle East, yeah, right, on the basis of the relevant UN resolutions, the Madrid Terms of Reference, including the Principle for Land for Peace, and the Arab Peace Initiative, and the Quartet Roadmap, and an end to the Israeli occupation that began in 1967, and underscores in this regard the importance of the ongoing efforts to advance the Arab Peace Initiative, the initiative of France for the convening of an international peace conference, the recent efforts of the Quartet, as well as the efforts of Egypt and the Russian Federation, which explains all of the bombing going on in the Middle East, all of the drones that are there, and all of the terrorism that our governments continuously promote onto the Middle Eastern areas and territories, including but not limited to Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, and the list goes on and on. Please seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha, because they're just using this as a roadmap to do what? To start war and instigate war here in America, here at home, and everywhere else worldwide. But hopefully you see the bigger agenda, and that they're doing the exact opposite of what they claim to be doing, just like they have been for the past 50 plus years. But this is Truth Unveiled here, keeping you updated with the latest, and saying as always, Shalom.
There's nothing wrong with learning from people that don't have the same views This does not make them ignorant or informationless. It just means that y'all have different religious views, and we know we don't do religion. So, and not even to mention that he's just repeating what it is that he understands from something translated that was not supposed to be translated. Okay, so another reason I decided that I was going to start getting back up early, because now we have a better understanding. Me and Maddie have been going back and forth about the Sabbath information sharing, and now the understanding is that it first started when Ed came out with the video. Like I said, he deleted it, but he had a video showing you how Saturday was meant for something else, and then it got assigned, I guess, at some point to mean something else. And it just got lost in translation, honestly, because it's not something that's gonna always fall on the same day. Always. So, like I said, until we get into learning the translated, the untouched version of our history, our story, our Bible, it is ours, but it was meant for, I guess, the governing of the other people, those tribes around us. We have a deeper root. We are the creators of that word. So what we had to write down and instruct others to do, we already have in us. And the reason why this is something that I've always known, truth resounds within you, it's because everything that they say we are, we're total opposite. And they try to paint a narrative of them being somewhat gods, the judges, and that's nor here nor there. That never has taken away from our greatness. So it is what it is. Well, you can't. There's no expectations. When you place expectations on anybody, you're setting yourself up for failure. And we definitely have to accept this as far as our enemies go. I don't know why some of us tend to think that our enemies are going to save us. It's so weird. But Ephesians 6 and 12 tell you about, we're fighting with principalities, and this thing is spiritual warfare, trying to break our spirit for decades. I mean, literally trying to murder and wipe us out. And when you belong to the Most High, that plan is never going to work. Samuel Sewall, he said nobody has ever been successful in wiping out the seed of Adam. Makes me proud, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm moving forward. I just really wanted to look at that, but we can go into the subscriptions. We have a little more time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this, but I am going to start back doing it, because this is how we connect. This knowledge is how we connect. Now, I always like to look at my subscriptions this way, so I can read one by one, because it all looks like it's all together. The other way from me, we see the brother Uno has uploaded the video, so let's do this.
Hey, what's up, my people? I'm back again with some quite intriguing, somewhat evidence of name of the name of these two lands, these two pieces of land. Well, here today, found some insert, the return of the serpents of wisdom. And here it says, this is going to be a short video, small video. The serpent colonists of the Americas. And here you have America, the land of the serpents, right? And I looked up the word, and as you can see, I got America meaning, and it gives, serpent, religion, wiki-woo, America's real name. Get the fuck off this shit. Anyway, it gives me, meaning of land of serpents, America, and it's America. It's kind of like basically just telling me it's America, right? So, alright, so the serpent colonists of the Americas, America, the land of the serpents, being situated between both Atlantis and Lemuria, made the Americas both a stepstone and permanent destinations for serpents, colonists. Traveling from both motherlands, it was also a favorite destination for extraterrestrials. Serpents arriving from Venus and other parts of the cosmos, according to the descendants of the early Lemurian record keepers, the Andeans, elders, and the entire America landmass was anciently known as America, the land of the immortals, right? Or the land of the wise serpents. The title America is derived from the Kushe, Lemurian word Amaru. And I was looking at Tupac's middle name, and I was like, damn, man, she look familiar. And here we have Tupac's name, Tupac Shakur Amaru Shakur. Tupac Amaru Shakur. That's crazy, right? And it means, that word means snake or serpent. In Kushe, the language of the Incas, is derived from the Runa Suma. Now, Drop had put up a picture of the Incas a while back. The Inca kings. Inca. I think I'm doing it right. I'll spell it the way the European spells it. And we're going to look at the images. It's like a little page with all the, here. And he was saying how one of them looked like Tupac, or it was the name of Tupac or something like that. Similar names. So, let me see. I'm trying to find. Anyway, basically, he had brought up the name, one of the kings was kind of like Tupac's name. And it's just coincidence that his middle name is the meaning of serpent, or,
Go ahead, just read.
Say serpent, snake or serpent. You know what I mean? In Inca. It says the language of the Incas is derived from Luna, some the final tongue spoken on the area and ends of the symbol cut, which denotes both serpent and wisdom, apparently echoing the recollection of the Indian elders, H.P. of Blavatsky in the secret doctrine that America is referred to in the Hindu Pumas legends as Pakala, the kingdom of the Naga. You know when people can't say names right, they call you nigger, but really you are Naga. That's why niggas don't say nigga, they say nigga, because you are Naga, a serpent, man. Really? You are a serpent. That's why Egyptians had that snake on there, a serpent. You only people that can rise up the highest energy. You only people that can get their grounds. Because we the only ones that open penile glands. We the only people in America. Nobody else. Just because you got melanin don't mean shit. That's how you know the true Americans were. Maru, the Nagas. We already know those people, man. The serpent. That's why you can dance better than everybody. That's why everybody looks at us as being a hierarchy when it comes to different things. That's why we have our own knowledge, and all we have to do is utilize the things and make our computer work. But you rise up your Kundalini energy and bring up that serpent up your spine and through your chakras, and you become immortals. Remember what we said about X-Men? This is so much proof here that lets you know that if you believe in yourself, that you can become immortals again. We can become immortals if we use our energy. That's why they always put that spookism on it, because they don't want us to start doing what we know we can do. They don't want us to rise up our Kundalini energy to be able to be immortals again and have these different abilities. Because they saying that we come from somewhere else. You know, we are descendants of the early Lemuria. You know what I mean? This just shows you. And you know, they got videos with this guy, what the hell is his name? Let me show you his name. He's YouTube channel. Ryan something. And he's in always in Peru. No, Brian Foster, I'm sorry. This is his channel. Okay. But as you can see, he's all in Peru. Some of the videos. Let me show you. Look at South America. Look. This crazy, man. Because this is Katie. Katie is an HR recruiter. Seriously, partner for these videos. I just want to show you how to do it. Just different things. How beautiful these places are. They'll show you views of, look at this. Look at our land. It was like heaven in there. They couldn't believe it. Look at that. Do you see that? you know? So, it just goes to show you that we are the serpent people. They know, everybody knows it. Everybody knows that the so-called black man, the so-called.
And I'm just gonna pause this to tell you all that this right here is also on one of the books that I'm reading to translate our language. Even, some people might not agree word-wise, but even if you're not looking at the person, listening to the word, stuff just keeps coming back. And just keep that in mind. Shout out to Brother Uno. Into the world, he has another channel. Let's see if we can find his other channel. We'll go back and finish that. Okay. Alright. Uno has beats. Now, be sure to go and check out his channel and get out of it to these beats. Okay. I used to have it, and this may be it, or maybe delete the page. I'm not sure. I have no idea. Anyway, let's finish the video. Okay. Get into a little dog.
Hey, what's up, my people? He's YouTube channel. Ryan something. And he's in always in Peru. This is channel. No, Brian Foster, I'm sorry. This is his channel. Okay. But as you can see, he's on Peru with some of the videos. Let me show you. Look at South America, look. It's crazy, man, because this is Katie. Katie is an HR recruiter. Here's the apartment that he's got. I just want to show you how everything. Just different things. How beautiful these places are. I'm going to show you views of the view. Look at this. Look at our land. It was like heaven in there. They couldn't believe it. Look at that. Do you see that? So, it just goes to show you that we are the serpent people. They know, everybody knows it. Everybody knows that the so-called black man, the so-called Negro, the Nagas, we are the chosen people, They know that we are just like them. We are different, And I just had to bring up this thing, so there's more information in this. Feel free, it's, I'm going to try to see if I can connect this link somehow. If not, the name of the insert is The Return of the Serpent's Ability. I Tequila Drop, I couldn't get that to get sticky fingers on this one, maybe. But this just goes to show. And then he was talking about, you know, a lot of that stuff with Ethiopia and all that, it just all connects, you know, the Haggai's and the Naga, and it just means that we are the gatekeepers or the true people of this land. You know, the indigenous talking people of this land, and just little words, little separate words that shows that we are, and there's no dispute. Now we know, you know, everything that we research is all knowledge, and everything that everybody's researching comes all together. You know what I mean? It actually shows the whole thing with Atlantis and the North Maria. These people are the original people of the world. These people, period. Atlanteans and the Lemurians. The new people are the original people of this planet. Feel me? So, the kingdom of the Naga, it just shows you that the Native Americans could not be denied us. They are Melanesian and Mulatto peoples. They're not the original peoples. The original peoples are the people that call themselves today Negro, Black, African American, colored folk, whatever you call themselves. These are the true untaught ignorance, the serpents of Amaru, okay? Amaru, and that's just coming from ancient people. They call this place Amaru. So, if you would like to dispute this, I mean, it's just a small circle, inside. I'm pretty sure we can find more evidence showing even just the Inca stuff. You can just look this. Most of the Inca stuff is still intact. Because these people don't know what the fuck is going on with that shit too. They just trying to research it, but they exposing it at the same time. You know? So, much love and much respect. Shout out to all my business troopers. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Shout out to all the people that are open-minded for research. Shout out to all the people that would love to start doing little presentations to dispute true energy and true history. You know what I mean? That we are the original untouchable people on this planet. We are the African race. We are the true people of Meru, okay? The Nagas, the kingdom of the Nagas, or serpents, right? So much love and respect.
Sorry, y'all. I don't know how long you've been waiting. I am multitasking. As I said, y'all don't forget to go over and
what's up, my people? Jim, what's up, Mike? Alright.
yeah.
So,
Okay, let I'm about to start my day. I'm gonna let this play. Peace and power to you. Peace and power to y'all, and thank you for just coming over viewing. I'm gonna let this play for a couple of minutes, but then you can just go over here to get into the root of it all and finish it up. And everybody enjoy your day.
Hey, what's up, my people? I hope you ain't out there celebrating this bullshit ass paganist holiday today. For those who have yet to have an understanding of the real history of these holy days or holidays, or like Hollywood days, you know what I mean? Worshipping the hollow tree. You know, all you guys out here, you know, you follow these things, and we have everyday situations going on, and you wonder why it's happening. Because the true children of the Most High has not yet understood that they are worshiping other deities, not following their laws, not following their statutes and commandments. They're not following the real true creator of all. You know, you're putting yourself in a position where he's allowing anything to happen. Anything goes. He's turning his back on us, or those who don't listen. You know what I mean? And you know, you gotta get an understanding of what's going on. You know, you're following Jesus or Zeus or swine. You know, you're following the wrong things. But today I'm gonna bring out some history about Christmas and the traditions of the true history of it, where it starts from, and why are you worshiping it today? You understand or understand? I want to give a special shout out to all my indigenous truthers, all my people that's seeking truth, that's looking for a way to much love to Jay Stu and all the family out there in Utah. Shout out to my boy King Drop, my brother Aaron Mark, my brother Isaac Ford, my other brother Arden Davis, that's seeking refuge, and our families are trying to make a dismount, like Drop say, you know, from this system of cityism, and you know, just a bunch of heroic things that's been going on and what's to come. You feel me? So, no further ado, I want to present this video. From time to time, I might jump in, I might not. I'm really in observe mode because I want people to get a real, true understanding of what's going on. And the true origin is not here. It's the pagan stuff is in Europe. It all starts in Europe. You know, these people brought this over here. I mean, they call us pagans because we worship the Creator, when actually they do everything topsy-turvy. They flip it around. You know what I mean? They flip everything around. They say they're the true Jews and they're true Hebrews, and they're not. They turn everything around and make the true people follow some other stuff. You know what I mean? So, you know, let's get to it, man. And let's, you know, start out nice and slow and get some understanding. You know what I mean? the traditions of this has nothing to do with us, the true people. This is not for us. The Most High has told us constantly in books, and even through just your day-to-day, the things that you follow in the day-to-day, the things that happen to you in the day-to-day, show you that sometimes you're doing something wrong. This is a major problem. The reason why economics is in our communities are messed up is because before every end of the year, our families, our loved ones go out and spend all our cash, all the funds, and put it in the people's hands that's been oppressing us from the beginning. Their whole system is to fuck you over. Pardon my French. That's what it's all set up to be. It's all about witchcraft, putting spells over our people. You are under a spell. It needs to be broken. You know what I mean? So I asked the Most High, hey, please break these spells from our people. Take the chains off them mentally and bring them back home. I beg of you. Anyway, let's get to it, y'all.
During late December, the days are at their shortest lengths, and the nights are at their longest. To those of the pagan world, this has always been the greatest time of the year to celebrate and practice the works of darkness. The pagan calendar identifies this period as the winter solstice. It was during the pre-Christian midwinter pagan celebrations of Scandinavia's Norsemen where today's Christmas traditions began. As a means of honoring the pagan sex and fertility god Yule, a 12-day celebration during the month of December was inaugurated. A large single log considered to be a phallic idol was lit on fire and kept burning for 12 days. Animal or human sacrifices were offered in the fire on each of those days. Wild, delirious reveling accompanied the daily sacrifices as drunken participants defiantly strove to make contact with spirits. 1,000 miles away in pre-Christian Rome, celebrants were paying homage to their own gods during the winter solstice. Witchcraft traditions hold that a number of pagan gods were given birth during this period, including Dionysus, Apis, and Baal, chief male god of fertility and licentiousness. Another pagan god from Persia, identified as Mithra, was said to have been born specifically on December 25th. Mithra was the god of the unconquerable sun, the god of the light between heaven and earth, worshipped at that time by an influential Roman cult. His birth symbolized an end to the long nights and a return to the dominance of the sun. During the month-long winter solstice celebration, courts in Rome were closed. Any and all crimes were allowed. Homosexuality, cross-dressing, and uncontrolled debauchery reigned supreme. Rome's order was turned upside down. Even children were allowed to join in the drunken orgies as part of the Juvenalia celebration. By 270 AD, the Roman Emperor Aurelian had made it official, setting aside a 7-day period from December the 17th through the 24th, culminating in an exchange of gifts on December the 25th to celebrate the birth of the sun god. This Roman orgy to end all orgies later became known as Saturnalia, in honor of the god Saturn, the god of excess. Roman soldiers invading Britain brought with them their pagan orgiastic traditions. Upon taking root in England, Saturnalia became known as the Festival of Fools, reigned over by the Lord of Misrule. By the 4th century, the influential government-sanctioned Church of Rome, unable to outlaw the growing number of pagan practices, chose instead to adopt them into their so-called official Christianity. The church believed this would attract more pagans to their fold. Up until this time, the birthday of Jesus Christ, the Jewish Messiah, had not been celebrated at all. Ignoring scriptures, however, indicating that the birth probably did not occur during the winter, the church nevertheless confused biblical history and made Jesus' birthday coincide with the pagan god Mithra. The birth date of the sun god had now become the birthday of the son of God. It was
Wow.
So y'all hear, the sun god is Jesus. Jesus is the sun god. Son of God, son of dog. Get understanding, man. People gotta get understanding, man. Y'all following some bullshit, man. Following bullshit, man.
hopes that the pagan celebrations of Saturnalia would merge into this new legally sanctioned form of Christianity. The Church's practice of changing the dates of Christian events to coincide with pagan festivals continued, and by the 7th century, Pope Gregory I had ordered Augustine of Canterbury to incorporate any and all pagan practices and customs into the expanding Roman Catholic Church. During the Middle Ages, the debased Mardi Gras atmosphere of what was now known as Christ's Mass had reached a fevered pitch. Common practices included open sex in the streets, rioting, murder, and a number of pagan druidic Halloween rituals. This blood-drenched celebration got so out of hand that by 1652, following the execution of King Charles I, Christ's Mass was finally outlawed in England. A religious reform movement began sweeping the country, led by Puritan Oliver Cromwell. The Puritans took the biblical mandate seriously, which commanded that Christianity remain pure and separate from paganism, the Roman Catholic Church. During Japan, that by 1652, following the execution of King Charles I, Christ's Mass was finally outlawed in England. A religious reform movement began sweeping the country, led by Puritan Oliver Cromwell. The Puritans took the biblical mandate seriously, which commanded that Christianity remain pure and separate from paganism. Despite their noble efforts, the celebration simply went underground, and by 1656, after only 4 short years under the ban, the public's demand for the legalization of Christ's Mass had become insurmountable. The appointment of Charles II to the throne
Peace and power,
restored the
everybody.
English monarchy